Peoples, what's happening? It is Thursday, and we're a few minutes behind. We apologize for that. But it's Thursday, so it's time for Thursday Night Convo, and I'm going to go ahead and share this. If you are watching on YouTube or if you are watching on the Denali page, I'm asking that you share it as well. If you're looking at it in the group, you probably cannot share if you're looking at it in the group. But if you're on YouTube, which I encourage you all, if you're not connected to us on YouTube, that you connect to us on YouTube and that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is simply youtube.com/Denali LLC. So as I take a moment to share this, just if you're watching, say what's up. I saw some people pop in and out. If you're here with me, just say what's up, and we're gonna get ready to dig into this conversation. We won't be long tonight. It's been as it has been for a lot of people, it's been an interesting week. Carl, what's good, fam? What's happening? Happy holidays to everybody. And it's Thursday night, right? So you know what Thursday nights are about. And I said I was going to share this, but I keep talking, so I'm not sharing when I'm talking. However, let me go ahead and share real quick as the missus comes and joins me. How was your week? How was your week so far, folks, family?
Sorry, I can't see.
All right, she's leaving again. She'll be back. It's one of those Thursdays, man. Things are happening. Stuff's falling off the table, and you ever have one of those days where you just like, okay, things are just all over the place. I tried to start the live, it wouldn't start. This mouse messed up, so I had to go get another one. It's just been one of those kind of days. So, but that's cool. We're here. Everything is cool. It's working. And we're going to talk for a few minutes. So what I was saying was, this is, for those of you who have not joined us before, probably everybody who's on has joined us at one point or another. But the whole goal of this time we spend together on Thursday nights is for the two of us to have a conversation in front of you and to pull you into the into the conversation. Why do we do that? Because we're all about having conversations. We believe that couples should talk about anything and everything. What do you need?
Carmex.
People should talk about everything and anything, right? And we want to show folk that you can have all kinds of conversations. If you have not watched any of them before, go back and watch them, because they're all kinds of conversations. Good ones, tense ones, funny ones, tough ones, but you can have all those conversations and you can still be successful at them. I have not put this up in a while, but let me go ahead and throw, I'm about to say, don't tell me that's not working either. I was having issues before you came down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so let me throw this up. We haven't talked about this in a while. This is a tool that we created to help couples have those conversations. It's called the Couples Have a Conversation Couples Journal. You can get that on Amazon. If you search Have a Conversation Couples Journal, it will come up. You can also purchase it from our website as well. Can you share it while you're on? I was trying to share it.
Where do you want me to share it from?
From the Denali page, just
Okay.
to your personal page. And I don't know, maybe to one other group. I don't know. All right. I just shared it to my personal page.
Okay.
So let's see. Cara said, what's up?
Hello.
I think that's the only, did I miss any? No, I didn't miss any. All right. So let me ask you this. Let's jump right into conversation. No,
Okay.
First, you got something?
Well, maybe not.
No, you
What's
might.
up, Cara?
So get that journal, right? Because let me tell you a little bit about the journal. What's in the journal, right, is it gives you an opportunity to craft conversations ahead of time. Some of us are really good at just coming off the cuff and crafting and saying the right things at the right time. Some of us, like me, are not. So you get the opportunity to write some things out. You get to see some excerpts from how we used it. So you get to see my point of view on certain topics. We put 12 topics in there that we feel like couples normally talk about. Then you have space to create your own as well. It is a good tool. We've gotten some good feedback.
Great
people
feedback.
who have contacted us and was like, man, this has really sparked some conversations between us. And that's the whole goal.
That's the goal.
That is the goal, is to spark some conversations. And here we go again with the mouse not working.
What do you need it for?
Because so I can take the stuff on and off the screen. All right, so grab that. The next thing we want to say before we get into this conversation is we are very excited. January 30th, 2021, the Have a Conversation Marriage Forum. And this forum is all about sex.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Sheets is the title of the marriage forum. We got some heavy hitters. We got Jeff and Siobhan Ladonis, who will be there with us. We have Julie Siebert from Intimacy and Marriage. If you're not following these folks, all 5 of them, you should be.
Yes.
We have heavy hitters, Shannon and Shirley Austin from Marriage Inc. We got Dr. Jessica McLeese, who is a Christian sex therapist. And we have Sheila Ray Gregor from Love, Honor, and Vacuum. She wrote a book called 31 Days to Great Sex. She also wrote The Good Girl's Guide to Sex. Some heavy hitters on this forum, and we want you to be a part. Now, here's the kicker.
Cara,
It's
you're going to love it.
Free.
Mm-hmm.
It is free. So there's nothing hindering you from being with us on that day. So it's denali.org/between the sheets, and we are looking forward to that. All right. Thank you, Cara, for signing up. I promise you it's
gonna be great.
It will be worth every moment of your time. All right. What you got?
Well, so I'm going to ask Dr. Jessica this question.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to ask, what do you think of this?
Okay.
I remember who it was, but I'm not going to say any names.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about, typically it's the male, right? Typically it's the husband, I should say, but not necessarily always the case.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously from my experience and from the other person that I was talking to, from the other couple's experience as well, when it's been a little bit of time since the husband and wife has had sex, right? It seems as though the husband not necessarily has an attitude, but they could. Sometimes they do, or they get quiet, or they just seem a little bit more, what's the word? Standoffish, or just a little irritated.
Okay.
Maybe so, right?
Okay.
And the other couple that we were talking to, I don't even know if you remember this, the husband said, oh yeah, that's all psychological, meaning the husband doesn't have to get that way. He's just getting that way. You know, he has an attitude type thing. It's all psychological. Like it's nothing physical that happens for a husband to react that way.
Okay.
What do you think?
I disagree.
100% disagree?
Yep. 100% disagree.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Tanya, what's good? What's good, family?
Tanya.
Let me tell you why I disagree. Now, here, let me preface this by saying there are some men who probably do not experience it, but they have an attitude because it's been too long.
Do not experience.
They don't experience what I'm about to describe.
Okay.
Because you're talking about that. Somebody said it's psychological.
Aloof. That's the word, Tanya. Aloof.
Aloof.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me preface it by saying there are definitely some men.
Cara was like, wow, Ollie. Because you were like, I disagree.
Yeah,
100%.
I do. I disagree. So I there are some men who I believe maybe do not experience what happens psychologically to the degree of some others. So there's some people who probably they just have an attitude and they like, what's taking so long?
Mm-hmm.
However, I do believe that tied to the sexual experience are some psychological components that keep individuals going, for lack of putting it in scientific terms.
Yeah.
When that does not happen, I do believe that, and I'm only going to speak for men because I can't speak for a woman because I'm not a woman. I do believe that men experience what might be kin to withdrawal.
Okay.
I can't say that it's withdrawal, but what might be kin
that's a big word.
to withdrawal, meaning that there's a certain level of energy that is created by the sexual experience. There are hormones, hormones, oxytocin, and the other one. Don't get me to calling names, but I think that just as you can be vitamin D deficient or vitamin E deficient or whatever, I do believe that a prolonged period of time without the sexual experience can produce those same effects. I 100% believe that.
Okay.
Talk to us, though. Talk to us.
What do you all think? Sometimes
I could be wrong.
I know that sometimes, and I mean, you hear this all the time. And honestly, I have gotten like that as well, where I think to myself, when it's been a little while, for whatever reason, it's been a few days because we got stuff going on, or I'm overwhelmed, or just can't seem to connect because, busy, whatever the reason is. Sometimes when I sense that from you, I think to myself, man, is it really that big of a deal? Because it is. But is he overreacting, for lack of a better phrase, so that I can be like, okay.
So are we talking about people? Or are we talking about me? Like, I feel like the conversation, I feel like this thing switched up on me. Like, like under the table, I got a shot real quick. Like,
no.
What are we talking? So we're talking about me.
Well, I said, as an example, I mean, I'm saying that has happened to me before.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about me, which I didn't realize that's what was happening. But since we're talking about me, yes, I do go through that. I go through that.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that because, so let's in another conversation we talked about, I think way back we talked about desire, or we kind of touched on desire discrepancy, right? And we learned from Dr. Jessica,
and
who was going to
talk to her about this.
Right, we learned this from Dr. Jessica, a sex therapist, who was going to be one of the folk in the lineup for the Between the Sheets conference forum. She taught us about that, and we realized that is a thing for us, right? There is a level of desire discrepancy. So in those times where I may personally feel like it's too long, and then that's a whole nother discussion. How long is too long? Because for some people it needs to happen every day. For some people, every other day. For some people, once a week, whatever it is. So too long is relative to your partner, right? But for me personally, since we're talking about me, when I feel like it's been long enough, I do tend to, when I get to what I feel like is the breaking point, it does affect me physiologically and psychologically, which I think lends to what happens physically with me. So whether it be getting the quietness or the whatever, whatever those reactions are. I think that's what it is. And Lizanne said, is it not the same for both sexes? I'm not saying that it's not, but I can only speak from my perspective, right? Because we're different people. For her, right? I don't, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel like she goes through that. So there's certain people who they can go for a long time and not be affected.
I think that's what Elizanne means.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay. Well,
that's what I understood her to mean.
Okay. Well, yeah. But I can't really speak. Tina said, I agree. The mind and body are connected. God created the desire for us to please our spouse. Okay. And I do, for the person who, I can't remember who it was, but for the person who was like, it basically it's a farce. I disagree with that. Because here's the thing, right? Think about, I don't know if you saw this clip. I posted a clip from Pastor Keith Battle, and he was talking about how different we are. And he's like, have you noticed how your husband acts when you give him some? And he'd be like, and it was comical, but it was true. He was like, baby, what can I do for you? You need gas in your car? You need
yeah.
But that, I believe that there is an energy component tied to that. And here's the crazy thing, and we're going to dig into this in the forum. The crazy thing is that often for women, not for every woman, because I'm starting to see more cases, or I'm starting to read about more cases where the woman is like, it's not happening enough.
Yeah, and that's why I said in the beginning, it's not always the husband that has this reaction.
Right. It is, but I think the thing that is interesting to me is that it's cyclical, but it takes one person to begin the cycle. And often neither one wants to begin the cycle. So I believe in the case of you being overwhelmed, let's take that example. I personally believe that sex is the cure for that. However, you won't be thinking about sex because you're overwhelmed. So it's like the catch-22. Like, I need a job to get experience, but I need experience, to get the job. It's like, so that's the interesting thing to me. And I we'll definitely try to dig into that with some of the panelists. But no, there it is something physical that happens.
I do. Yeah, I agree with that. There is something physical that happens. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Well, yeah, I got put on the spot tonight. I didn't mean it that way. No, that's cool. I was just giving.
No, I'm kidding. That's what this space is for. That's what it's for.
Yeah, but I didn't come on here with the intent to put our situation on the spot.
Oh, no,
it really was a legit question.
It's all good. Yes, both men and women go through the same psychological reaction when sex is withheld. Okay.
Or missing for a period. Sex sometimes needs. Oh, let me read it out loud. Sorry.
I agree with that.
Sex sometimes needs to be intentional regardless of what is happening in life. I agree.
I agree with that. And I think often that's something that we forget, right? So because of what it produces in us physically as it relates to hormones and what those hormones are good for, producing that euphoric, if you will, environment. Often when we are not feeling, quote unquote, in the mood, those are often the times where we should actually be having sex, because that will give you the rush of hormones that you need to help you push you over the hump. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
I think it's difficult though to get to that point I think it is for women anyway. If you're not, because for women, it starts in the mind. So if you're not there mentally, if you're overwhelmed to begin with, it's difficult to get there mentally, I think.
Okay.
Whereas with men, they could have a lot going on. They could be thinking about a whole bunch of billion different stuff. but they can close all of that off and still be good to go. And it's not like that for women.
It's not like that for women.
No.
Okay.
So yeah. What?
My mouse is not working again. I don't know what's going on. Elizanne said, I agree. Carl said, sometimes we need to schedule time for sex so that all can benefit.
I agree with that.
100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, we talk about that in our intimacy talk that we do, that sometimes you do have to schedule it.
Yeah.
And be intentional about putting it on the calendar. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
That's a tough one because generally, and I can't generalize all men. I feel like as we get older, as men get older, it changes. And I was actually just talking to another guy about this. Typically for men, especially when we're younger, we don't need nothing inhibits us. Right. So I could have the worst day in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave that, when I see the clothes coming off, I can't remember what kind of day I had. It don't even matter at that point. But for women, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I think for men over time, as they get older, the connection between what's happening psychologically and what happens physically, I think that gap begins to close.
Yeah.
As you get older, I'm noticing that. But getting past that, I think, is difficult because you need one for the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are already
like an oven. So the stress and overwhelm can be too much to even get started. Exactly.
That's true.
Yep.
So here's the thing. Would you be willing to, and we in our last forum, we had, no, we didn't. I'm mixing the couples up. Who did the 40-day thing? Was it Tony and Alyssa?
Tony and Alyssa did that.
So there's a couple, Tony and Alyssa Di Lorenzo, who kind of experienced a lull, if you will, in their sex life. And they were like, we're going to have sex for 40 days straight.
Was it 40 or was it 30?
I think it was 40. I think initially they were trying to do 60, but they went to 40. Regardless of what's happening, regardless of how we feel, regardless of what went on in the day, it's going to happen 40 days straight. And they talk about, if you go and follow them, they talk about how that revolutionized their sexual experience.
So they are Tony and Alyssa.
Alyssa. Tony
Di
and Alyssa.
Of One Extraordinary Marriage.
Di Lorenzo. Yep. One Extraordinary Marriage. They have a phenomenal podcast. And they talk about that. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes we have to, there has to be some give and take. Here's where we land the plane. There has to be some give and take. I believe that there has to be some level of understanding as it relates to the fact that there are other components that feed into how we approach sex. Mm-hmm. Then I think on the other hand, there has to be a meet in the middle, if you will, of, hey, I'm going to do this because it's going to bring about the situation that I would normally wait for to occur before I have sex. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense. Yes.
Right. So normally, to put it in practical terms, normally I would need to not be overwhelmed in order for my mind to be in a place where I could have sex. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to meet in the middle, and I'm actually going to have sex to get that release instead of the other way around, right? Sometimes the cycle has to start in a place, right, in a place where we would not normally start it. I think that I don't know. What do you feel about
that? It just all goes back to what me and Tanya were saying. It's easier said than done, I think, for women because of where their headspace is. So,
I agree. Carson, I read a book that was similar, And it's interesting. It is.
Yeah.
It is an interesting concept. I think as married couples, we have to be willing to explore, right? That exploration sometimes takes us outside of our comfort zone and causes us to have to think out of the box. We tell couples this all the time when we're coaching them to find experiences that force you to think out of the box, and that force you to go out of your comfort zone. And I think that's just one of them. We just have to, over time, you know, practice makes perfect. You get in the rhythm that works for you. But I do believe that there is something tied to that, just as there's something psychological tied to, as you relate to your experience of, you know, or like Tanya said, you got to be in a certain headspace.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's the same for us as well.
So what were you going to ask me?
I was just going to ask you, was everything okay?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because, you know, you kind of fussed at me a little. Well, you didn't fuss at me. But
I did?
No. That's the wrong word. When you asked me to open the door. Yeah, see, you're laughing because you already see. She already know. She already know.
What
man.
did I say?
It's not what you said. It's how you said it. See?
I hate that he knows me so well.
See what I'm talking about? I was sitting on the couch like, what did I do? I'm just supposed to open the door right now. That's it.
But you weren't opening the door. You were sitting on the couch looking at me on the phone. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
When I FaceTimed you?
Yes.
From the car?
Okay, so hold on, folks. I was about to shut this live down, but let's talk about this for a second. Let me paint a picture for you. She had to go out. It snowed here. So, and I didn't clear out the driveway. So it's a little icy. So I clear the car off. And when she's about to leave, I say, call me when you're about to pull in the driveway if you can't get in. So I'm on the couch. The phone rings. It's FaceTime. And when I answer the phone, I say yes. The next thing that happens is she says, never mind.
No, that's not true.
I swear to you,
I did.
You were like, never mind.
No.
Open the door.
No.
I was like, huh?
You're saying it wrong.
Okay. Say it how you
So
said
you told me to call you if I couldn't get all the way up the driveway because of the snow. So I'm pulling in and I'm Alexander said you're supposed to hear the car and open the door.
Apparently.
Thank you. No.
Apparently that's what's supposed to happen.
No.
I'm supposed to sense that the car is coming down the street and be outside.
No, so what I was doing is as I was pulling in, I was calling you. It went to FaceTime because I hit the wrong thing. And so I was kind of like maneuvering and thinking, oh, it went to FaceTime at the same time. So when I said, I was going to say, can you help me? But waiting for you to answer the phone, I had already gotten to the end. So I was just like, oh, never mind. I made it into the driveway. Okay. And you said, okay. And then you did like this. And so that's why I was like, can you open the door, please? Because you were just sitting there staring at me. Listen,
folks, I promise you, this call was all of 15 seconds.
Yes, it's true, but still.
I will move faster next time. I will. I mean, 15 seconds is pretty quick to me.
Well, hey.
But apparently, man.
I just didn't know why you were still sitting there after I said, oh, never mind, I got it, I'm in. And then you were like, okay. I'm like, can you open the door, please?
So here's the crazy thing, right? She's not at the door. Can we just make that clear? Because I don't want you all to think that she's standing outside waiting for me to open the door.
I wasn't, but you knew I had groceries.
She hadn't even turned the car off yet. Matter of fact, by the time I got to the trunk to get the groceries, she was just getting out of the car.
Well,
What did I do wrong here, folks? Can you help me? Help me out, please. Tanya said I was tired just thinking about 40 days straight. Don't get tired. Don't get tired.
But I want to be as hopeful and optimistic as I am about other things.
Here's the and that's what I was going to say. Here's the thing, right? We are intentional about the things that are important to us, right? We make time for the things that are important to us. No matter how tired we are, if we like, man, I got to catch that last episode of Grey's, we're going to do it, right? Or whatever it is, right? So my thing,
Grey's because he knows I like Grey's.
Right. So my thinking is, if you can do that, right, then you can make the time to do other stuff. You can make the time for sex as well. That's my thinking, because that's the thinking that I tend to apply to everything else, is that if I'm going to be intentional and I can make time and I can schedule and I can do that for all of the other things that, that are important to me, then I can do that for that as well. That's my thinking about that. So I wouldn't look at it as, and I think what we do often is that we look at this as, this is a strong word, but I'm going to say it anyway. We sometimes look at this as obligatory.
And that's the thing. If you were to do the whole 40 days thing, I would imagine that how you look at that is how you already feel about sex.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I mean, that's your point of reference, and so that's how you're going to approach it.
Yeah.
It's like me and the dishes. I don't like doing the dishes. That is very obligatory to me. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain level of, oh, here we go. Right. And I'm pushing myself, and it's taking me 5 minutes to turn on the water. And I have that approach to it. Mm-hmm. I think we approach sex like that.
Well, if that's how you feel about it.
Right. But I don't even think we do it. Sometimes we don't even do it consciously. Mm-hmm. I think we just, it just has happened that way for one reason or another. And so we don't approach it in the same way, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, the things that are enjoyable to you, that you don't have to pump yourself up for, or you don't have to think about, you just do them. Mm-hmm. You schedule them. If you're a gym rat, you're not pushing yourself to go to the gym. It's just part of your schedule, right? If you're a Netflix person and you watch all these shows on TV, it's not a struggle for you to do that. And I feel like we have to have that same level of intentionality when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Let me go back to some of these comments. Elizanne said, you're supposed to hear it. Yeah, exactly. That's what's supposed to happen, man. I'm supposed to hear the car. The car is quiet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the muffler.
Oh, no.
And then so I can hear it. And then, this maybe this won't happen again.
Then I'll be complaining.
Right. This should be mad about that. Right. Married life. Humorous. It is. And you got to be, listen, let me tell you something. You got to be able to, because here's the thing, right? And what I love about this space is that what we're trying to show you is that this really, like, it could be a problem.
Yeah.
Like we could be not live tonight because I got an attitude.
Yeah.
And we just start arguing about how I felt like she talked to me. Right. Instead of being able to talk it out and laugh and, come up with some strategies if we have to, but these are the types of conversations that I feel like we should be having as it relates to that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. I did say it was going to be short tonight. And it said, how are you reading my mind? I love Grace. This is your Grace buddy right here. Right here. Elizanne said, I totally agree. We need to make our marriage intentional as God required us to. And sex is priority. Sex is a priority. And it should be made a priority. And it should be looked at as an opportunity for a level of connection that you would not get otherwise.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a chore.
That's true.
It's not. Sometimes you hear people talk about wifely duties, and it's not none of that.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not that.
People really do say that, huh?
People say that all the time. And whatever you label, if you label something a thing, you're going to approach it that way.
Yeah.
Right. It's not wifely duties. It's a connection. It's a time for you to connect. And if you appreciate that
I
time
love
to
that.
connect, then you're going to be intentional about that time. I love that connection time. It is, quite frankly, the most peaceful and unified time in the world. You know, it's almost, and I've told her this, it's almost like the world stops. The stuff that's rolling around in my head stops. What's going on in the world stops. It's just like, if you love that time and you want that connection, that's what that is. And that's how we need to look at that,
I like that.
as a space to do that.
That needs to be our next post. That was really good.
Cool.
It's not wifely duties. It's connection.
It's connection. That's agreed. It is the only act that exemplifies the two as one. Yep. Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. So with that, that's a great segue into what's coming up on January. What I do?
You're yelling.
Oh, my bad. That's a great segue to what's coming up on January the 30th, 2021. To have a conversation marriage forum. If you have not, and listen, can I get you guys to do me a favor? One, if you haven't registered, please register. Two, if you have registered, please share this. We post this on social media often. Share it with your friends. Text the photo, take a screenshot of the photo, text it to somebody that you know would benefit from this particular forum. Send it to your church, marriage ministry leader. Help us get the word out.
It's free, guys.
It's free, and we want to pack it out. Now, praise the Lord, they're coming in. Mm-hmm. Like the registrations are coming in, but it's free. So we want everybody. There's no reason why you cannot be in this space, and it's not long. We're going to pack a ton of information into it says 3 to 5, but we added an extra 30 minutes. So we're going to tack a ton of information into 2.5 hours. And we're going to give you some opportunity to connect with the other folks and with us if you need a deeper dive. So
that's a really great idea to pass this along to your marriage ministry or marriage group leaders at your church.
Yep. Pass it along.
It's a great idea.
It's going to be, I'm telling you, the lineup is bananas. And if you want to, if you want to fact check my statement that the lineup is going to be bananas, go to our page or go to the denali.org/between the sheets. Mm-hmm. I have all of their social media.
Yeah. And just check them out.
Follow them, check them out, fact check me and see if this is not going to be nuts.
Yeah. They're really, really great.
So we're looking forward to seeing you there. So that's it for us. I did have something else I wanted to plug, but I didn't get the graphic up in time, but I'll talk about it very briefly. We have been blessed to be part of an anthology book project that's coming out in February called Money Talks. We're co-authors for that book. We are part of a VIP experience happening this Saturday. Mm-hmm. If you would like to be a part of that experience, it's $25. It will get you a full day of meeting all of the speakers, all of the co-authors, the creators of the project. We'll be in a breakout room talking about intimacy on Saturday afternoon. And you also get a copy of the book for that $25. Really, and so if you are interested in that, it's posted on our social media. You can send me a DM. I can get you that information. You still have some time to grab tickets for that. And then the very last thing is Trade Secrets. If you are not subscribed to the Trade Secrets podcast, well, that's not the very last thing, but if you're not subscribed to the Trade Secrets podcast, please subscribe. We have an episode coming out tomorrow with Monica Tanner that is phenomenal. And the last thing is, if you have not gotten a copy of this book, it is a great Christmas gift. Mm-hmm. Overcoming the Man Laws. Get it on Amazon or denali.org/shop. All right, we out of here. Thursday night conversation. Cara, thank you. Cara said great, awesome show. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll be back. Next Thursday is Christmas Eve.
We may not.
We may.
Probably not.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
we'll be around Christmas Eve. I don't know. Yeah,
be
with your family. I mean, there is some other stuff happening that day, but I think we'll take off that day and then be back. The following week is New Year's Eve. I don't know.
Okay.
Just follow us. We'll let you know what's happening with us. All right. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Happy holidays to everybody. Have a great weekend.
Be safe.
Be safe, especially those of you who are in snowy areas. We should be kind of staying home as much as possible anyway. But
right.
Cara said, "Why not?" Okay, we'll take that in consideration.
We'll see.
We'll see how things play out in the next couple of days, and then we'll let folks know what we're doing. All right. So that's it. That's this edition of Thursday Night Convo. Have a good evening. Have a great weekend. Happy holidays to you.
Bye.